RBC's She's the Boss this week is profiling Red Girl Rising and the Matriarch Resistance. Ivy Richardson is the founder of Red Girl Rising, a wellness through movement initiative, and Team 700, British Columbia's first competitive Indigenous youth boxing team. Together with Lisa Kenoras, they co-founded Matriarch Resistance in a direct response to missing and murdered Indigenous women, girls, and Two-Spirit people. They join me now to share the why behind their business. Welcome to the show, ladies.
Hi.
Hi, Candace. Thanks for having us.
I love everything about what you're doing. And so I want you to share with my audience because it's so important. So first, let's start with Red Girl Rising. Ivy, where did you come up with this idea?
Yeah, so I seen a gap just in accessible movement programs within our communities. So I wanted to kind of fill that gap, and also fusing two of my passions of working in community and movement. And so I did this by collaborating with community serving organizations to break down barriers to making movement accessible for their communities. So that was kind of the foundation of Red Girl Rising, was making movement accessible for community.
So where then does Lisa and the Matriarch Resistance come in?
Yeah, so that actually started, I was reminded from a Facebook post my sister Lisa put out. And so maybe I'll pass the mic now to Lisa to kind of talk more about how that came to be.
Yeah, actually yesterday on Facebook, it was a 1-year memory. I ended up doing a call out because I'm very collective in the way that I think. And I am, as in the last 2 years, I'm finally starting to build a community, hence with COVID. And then I thought, if I want to learn kickboxing or some sort of self-defense or boxing, what does that look like? And so I kind of just put it out in the Facebook world. And then I got lots of feedback. And then this is when Ivy wanted to collaborate on this idea. And this is where Matriarch Resistance, we didn't even have a name for the program, but we ended up meeting here in Victoria almost a year to the date. We're coming up on our 1 year, which is amazing. And so, yeah, we've been just working on it the last year collectively together, bringing Indigenous women and femmes to create safe spaces, to be able to hold each other up in our skills and our talents, while also keeping our sovereignty, which is our body, safe together.
I really love that you have weaved together a business and building community. That is not an easy feat. What has this meant to the communities that you're in?
Yeah, well, I'm seeing it through the boxing team actually the most at this point, because that's been the program that's been going the longest. And, I hear, a lot of the feedback is, this is their safe place. I'm feeling empowered. I'm feeling just more ready to walk in a good way in this life, right? I don't know if Lisa has more to add to that through Matriarch Resistance lens, perhaps.
Yeah, through Matriarch Resistance, we actually ended up reaching out and we got some comments. And even with those comments, creating this safe space with Indigenous women and femmes has been such a success in the way that there has been sisterhood. Like me and Ivy have created a sisterhood through this. And I know with the other Indigenous women and femmes, because at first we were in person, limited because of COVID. And then once the second lockdown happened, we decided to go virtual. And so virtual, we have gone internationally. We have Indigenous women from, I could say around the world. And so that's kind of our goal, is to be able to collectively come together with our different knowledges and combining traditional knowledge, and hopefully now that things are open, to be able to visit these Indigenous women and femmes. Then down the road we want to turn this into more of a mentorship leadership program, where it's kind of like a train the trainer, where we can leave Matriarch Resistance within that community, again creating safe spaces, collectively coming together and holding each other up in our power.
So you are definitely, you have forward momentum. This, you're a year in for Matriarch Resistance. What's next? Where do you go next?
Well, now that we're allowed to be in person, we definitely want to be in community. And that's been the missing piece, I think, for us is when COVID hit, we went online. And as great as online is, there's still a little missing piece there. And so definitely next step is being actually in community, making those connections, building those relationships, creating that sisterhood.
All right. So I want people to be able to find you, obviously, for our listeners out in Surrey. Obviously, they're going to be able to connect with you. But for women across Canada who want to find out more, where can they go?
So they can find us on our Facebook page, Matriarch Resistance. They can find us on our Instagram page. Again, it's Matriarch Resistance. And then we have a Matriarch Resistance page through my Red Girl Rising websites. That's www.redgirlrising.com.
All right. Thank you to Ivy and Lisa from Red Girl Rising and Matriarch Resistance for joining me today. And thank you to our sponsor, RBC. RBC is here to support you through digital first solutions, advice, and services that go beyond banking to help realize your true potential. Because owning a small business takes something special. That's why RBC is behind you every step of the way. Visit rbc.com/business.